Well, today we're going to talk about Chapter 3 in your module MA0123 Maritime Law, that is of the role of the ship's master. The master is usually a man of many skills. He needs to be disciplinarian, accountant, part lawyer, part doctor, part diplomat, part everything. He needs no more than a fair measure of self-confidence and an ability to make cool and rational judgment. He is the servant of the law. He's the agent of his principal, usually the ship owners and the charterers. And if his ship is under charter and the charter party, which is the contract of carriage of goods by sea, so stipulates, he must obey the instruction of the charterer. He is also a commander of men. That's why you cannot have two ship captains on board the ship. It's usually only one. He occupies a position of special trust, a fiduciary relationship with his owner. That means the owner, imagine the owner entrusted the captain, putting under his command a multi-million-dollar asset, that is the ship. He is therefore absolutely responsible for the safety of his ship and remains in command regardless of whether or not his ship is in the charge of a pilot at any given time. That means to say, when the ship is under pilotage, the masters still have all his overriding authority to override the pilot if he deems that the action of the pilot is not correct, or the action of the pilot may endanger his crew member, the ship, and her cargo. So the ship owner relies on the master to manage their ship with regard to the safety of the ship, cargo, passengers, and crew. So there are three animated faces of ship captain. And some of the cartoon there, Captain Haddock, who's in the Tintin cartoon, and his favorite word is billions of blue blistering barnacles. I'm in command of this ship. Alright, just some introduction to cheer you up before we come to more serious stuff. Here we go. Okay, section 5 in chapter 3 or lesson 3, the legal role of a master. As you can see on the slide, you see the safety officer, you see the word contract, and yes, the master is also a manager of commercial enterprise. He's also the safety officer. This is the applet that depicts his rank. Also, he is the law officer. In certain cases, the master has to take all the above role, all this role at one go, in order to make many people happy. These people could be the owners, charterers, cargo owners, port authorities, even his own crew member. In managing his ship as a commercial enterprise, he must ensure the safety of the crew, ship, and cargo at all times. Failure in any of these aspects may have serious consequences both to the ship under his command and his employers, who is usually the ship owners. Of course, not all ship owners will employ the master directly. Most of the time, the masters are the employee of a ship managers. Okay, let's go to 5.1. It's about the master as the agent of ship owner. As you can see, on the left column, it are all his responsibility and with regard to his role in context as an agent of the owner. So if you still remember, under the law of agency during your year 2, the master is the owner's agent. So he's given the express authority, implied authority, and sometimes his apparent authority is being ratified by the owner, and so on. So if the master have done something wrong, usually the ship owners are vicariously liable. By vicariously liable basically means the owners will take the blame of the wrongdoing that is incurred by their masters. The master needs to have a lot of knowledge. Basic knowledge, for example, the basic provision of the charter party, CP here, charter party, and the bills of lading. He, as the owner of the owners, is responsible for seeing that charter party are being complied. I think what is there to comply? For example, the tendering of notice of readiness, the tendering of ETA, the estimated time of arrival. Of course, this depends on the type of ship the master is on. Usually, the master who sails on board the tramping will have to peruse the charter party more frequently or understand the charter party as compared to liner master. Liner captain, I don't think they ever seen the charter party on board the ship, right? So if you ask me, the tramping master, who are the master on the oil tanker or bulk carrier, they are more well versed in terms of maritime law, in terms of maritime commercial law, in the part of charter parties or bill of lading. Or the tramping master, they are more knowledgeable as compared to liner captains. Lastly, with regard to all documents on board, the captain, the master, is the one who will sign on behalf of the owner, acting on behalf of the owner as agent of the owners. Those documentation could be SOF, which stand for Statement of Times, timesheets. You'll find timesheets on the oil tanker. Timesheets and Statement of Facts sometimes are construed as the same document. And bill of lading, again for tramping masters, usually they will sign the bill of lading. (5.2) Master as agent of cargo owner. In the early days, the cargo owners were considered to be joint adventurers with the ship owner and the master. That's how the master got his name, master. The master has got some share in the cargo or some share on board the ship, or he himself is the owners of the ship, the master of the vessel. And he sailed the ship, being on the man on the voyage, on the spot on the voyage. At times in peril or emergency, he is also the man on the spot, right? He feels peril, he feels emergency, hence he acts as an agent of necessity. Again, agent of necessity is a revision for your Year 2 Law of Agency. As for the cargo owner, he may at times have to sign the Lloyd's Open Form or the LOF. Lloyd's Open Form is pertaining to salvage adventure. When the ship got into trouble, someone is there to help the ship to get out of her trouble. The more internationally popular salvage agreement or salvage contract will be the Lloyd's Open Form. And this Lloyd's Open Form is binding, it's a contract, so it has to be binding, and it binds the cargo owners and the cargo ship owners. Cargo owners, of course, if there is cargo on board. If there's no cargo, usually the cargo owners is out of the picture when salvage agreement is concerned. For salvage adventure, it usually linked to GA or the general average. General average is actually a voluntary sacrificing of cargo or the goods, or even sacrificing of the ship in order to save other member or other stakeholder they may have the property on board that ship. So when the ship has gone into trouble, for example, certain time we have to jettison or throw certain cargo overboard in order to save another part of the cargo and the whole ship. We have to throw the cargo overboard or jettison the cargo. So the cargo owner whose cargo has been jettisoned or has been thrown overboard will lose money, right? So under maritime law, there's a provision called there's a law of general average, where the ship owners or other cargo owners' interests whose cargo is being saved by the other cargo owner who has sacrificed his cargo, they will contribute certain amount that is being averaging out under the law and compensate the cargo owner whose cargo has been jettisoned or has been thrown overboard. DG stands for dangerous goods. As far as dangerous goods is concerned, the master is given the legal power when they are carrying the dangerous good to dispose of these dangerous goods, or when they become danger. For example, due to certain reason, the dangerous goods uh, has reacted chemically and has caused or may cause fire or may cause to emit toxic fume that can injure the crew member. If the master deem it proper to dispose of the DG, he will definitely do it. And in certain countries, certain law, this regulation is, or not regulation, this rights of the master to dispose of the DG is granted by statute. In your notes, there's a spelling error there. It says granted by statute. That is wrong. Please change it to statute. Okay, so far? Let's move on to 5.3, the master as agent of the charterer. So in this aspect, we are talking about his agent in the context of TC, or the time charterer scenario. Under the time charterer scenario, the master under the time of a time charter remains the servant of the law of his ship owners and bind them by his signature, and not the charterer, which lead us to the second rule of the master. Do you remember what is the second rule of the master? If you do not, flick through your notes and have a look. And in all time charter parties' requirement, the master usually have to obey the orders of the charterer, but not obey blindly, if you know what I mean. Think about it, what are the things that the master should not be obeying the time charterer blindly? So, in the time charterer scenario, sometimes the master will run into difficult situation. Certain time, he has to sign, he has to authorize the charterer's agent to sign bill of lading. And if they don't sign, the owners will be deemed to be breach of contract if they refuse to sign. So there is a contract relationship between the owner and the bill of lading recipient. So in what kind of scenario do you think the master would not want to sign the bill of lading? Or he did not want to sign the bill of lading, he authorized the agent to sign on their behalf. Think about it. And this part protected by employment and indemnity clause. Whatever it is, there is usually an employment and indemnity clause in the time charter party where the master is exempted from his certain responsibility. For example, in terms of safety, he deviated from the customary route. In terms of safety, he declined to carry certain cargo. And to illustrate this simply, the charterers have the right to tell the master where to sail to, what cargo to load, but they have no right to tell the master when to sail, because that is a matter of safety of navigation. What do you mean by that? Down here, I put here Fuzhou safety of navigation because I personally have experience where the charterers was forcing me to sail out from Fuzhou river at night. and the charterers even promised to send me 2 pilots to give me 2 tugs to bring my ship out from the 6-hour river passage at night. But I know very well that there is no night unberthing. Under the local law, under the local Chinese law, there is no night unberthing. At that time, I was very pressurized by the charterers, but I said no. Okay, in this respect, sometimes it could be deemed as a breach of the time charter party, but actually it is not. AON, agent of necessity. Yeah, this is a sort of revision of your lesson of your year 2 law of agency. The agent of necessity as played by the master is going long back. It has something to do with salvage and general average. So think about it, when the master need to sign the Lloyd's open form, is he exercised under an express authority or implied authority, or he acts as an agent of necessity? In your notes, there is bottomry and respondential. That means in those days the master can give a bottomry bond or a respondential bond, so to bind his owner in cases of dire necessity when he finds himself left with no alternative other than to raise money by pledging the ship. Although bottomry and respondential is no longer applicable nowadays. Nowadays you don't find shipmaster having to pledge their ship in order to raise money. Those days, yes. Those days when I told you just now, the master, he himself has got some share. He himself is actually part of the ship owner, and he himself is also the trader, right? Sometimes he needs money to trade cargo, to buy and sell cargo, and at that point of time, he has no money to buy the cargo to trade. He will have to pledge the ship. He have to borrow money by pledging the ship. Okay, as for agent of necessity, the word frequently used to describe the need of this type of situation is necessary. So what is necessary? Is it persons who who supply the needs of the ship on this occasion are often described as necessaries men, be they ship chandeliers or suppliers or any items essential to the successful prosecution of the voyage. The master is often described in such situation as the agent of necessity. Okay, if you look at your course notes 5.4D, it says a casual observer of shipping laws might well say why the agent of necessity principle lingered on into modern times long after the introduction of sophisticated and instant methods of communicating between ships and their owners wherever in the world they may happen to be. If you remember, one of the criteria to justify the master acting out as an agent of necessity is if the master has difficulty in communication. That means he's not able to communicate to the ship owner or to his principal for certain decision making. In the paragraph I just read it to you, but it says now in this modern era, the communication part most likely than not does not form any problem anymore. So do you agree? And the other criteria for the master to act out as an agent of necessity will be by way of peril, danger, emergency, or distress while the vessel is at sea and nobody there to support the master but the master himself. In this respect, the master he is fully equipped to make an on-the-spot assessment of the degree of the danger and the consequent need for emergency measure. That means he knows very well whether he needs to abandon the ship. He knows very well whether he needs to throw some of the cargoes overboard, or he knows very well whether he has to deviate from the ordinary route. There's a typhoon in front, he has to deviate from the original course, and that will cost him 10 days delay, 20 days delay, but so be it. He's the man on the spot. He's the man who's able to make an on-the-spot assessment. However, this on-the-spot assessment has to be substantially supported by good grounds. If you look at page 5 of your notes, subsection 5.4e, it says disasters such as the Amoco Cadiz or the Union Star might have been different story had the respective master of this vessel not first attempted to communicate with their owners for instruction. So far as the Union Star is concerned, nobody will ever know because the master met with his death in the disaster. So, what do we mean by that? What do you know about the case of the Amoco Cadiz and the Union Stars? So, the Amoco Cadiz is quite a famous disaster. Oh, okay, I won't say famous disaster. It's quite a sad disaster where this ship ran aground off the coast of Brittany in 1978 because of steering failure. So, in 2 weeks, the entire cargo of 223,000 tons of Iranian and Arabian crude oil and the bunker fuel went to the sea. The sea was heavy. Much of the oil quickly formed a viscous oil in water emulsion. That means the mixture of seawater and oil, increasing the volume of pollutant by up to 5 times. The oil mixed with water, so the pollution is extensive. By the end of April, the oil and emulsion had contaminated, imagine, 320 kilometers of the Brittany coastline. It's just like from Singapore to Thailand, and has extended as far east as the Channel Island. So if you read the 5.4e, it says the Amoco Cadiz might have been different story. The disaster of the Amoco Cadiz might have been different story have the respective master of the vessel not first attempted to communicate with their owners. So what can you make from that? That means the Amoco Cadiz master actually contacted their owners. What the sentence is trying to say, the situation could have been different if the master did not call the company. So what can you make out of that? You can ask me when you see me the next week, okay? But you think about what is this sentence is trying to say. Of course, vis-a-vis the agent of necessity. As for the Union Star, the notes is very sad because the master did not live to tell the story because he died. Okay, looking at the fact, it happened in 1981. The Union Star was on its maiden voyage. Do you know what's maiden voyage? That means the ship, the first ship. Sorry, not the first ship. The first voyage for that ship when she's being commissioned. Sail from somewhere to somewhere, carry cargo of fertilizer. She has 5 crew, who include Captain Morton, who is on board, and he brought his wife Dawn and his 2 teenage daughters. Okay, they were traveling to be together for Christmas. Yeah, you can see it's 19 December, so it's close to Christmas. The Union Star developed an engine fault approximately 8 miles east of the Wolf Rock on the south coast of Cornwall. She was unable to restart her engines and assistance were offered by a tug under the Lloyd's open form salvage contract. But Captain Morton refused the offer, unwilling to pay an undetermined amount for salvage. So this case basically said the captain did not want assistance from the tug, and the worst result happened. The captain died. So again, back to 5.4e again it says disasters such as the Union Star might have been different stories had the captain of the ship not first attempted to communicate with their owners for instruction. So what can you think of that? That means to say both the captains in the Amoco Cadiz and the Union Star actually contacted their owners. So what? Think about that. Again, if you can't figure out or you can't analyze or you're not able to critique, we can discuss this when I see you next week. another case on the Unique Mariner. The Unique Mariner, I think you'll be seeing this case again in other chapter of the maritime law. Can't remember offhand which case would that be. Anyway, the Unique Mariner was on a voyage in ballast from Malaysia to Indonesia. Again, she ran. It's a grounding case. She ran aground on the Nipa Reef, very near to Singapore, 13 miles. However, she was in the Indonesian territorial waters. There were efforts to refloat her, but it was unsuccessful. And on the next day, that is February 8, the master cabled the ship managers. Ship managers was Sea Trade, asking Sea Trade for assistance. On the same day, the master received the following cable from Sea Trade, which say, "We have appointed Wallum and Company Limited Singapore acting as owner's agent. She is the underwriter of Taisho Insurance Company. At our request, they are communicate for suitable tug to be dispatched from Singapore." Very complicated. Call the managers. The manager inform the captain. They appoint an agent. Okay, the agent will get some tug. Some tug to come and help the Unique Mariner. So what happened then? The defendant's tug, South Valiant, observed Unique Mariner near the Nipa Reef. Actually, this South Valiant is not the tug being deployed by the ship manager's agent. Okay, so this is actually a busybody tug who came by and saw the Unique Mariner is in trouble, and South Valiant offered to help. The master, by mistake, thinking that the South Valiant was the rescue tug sent by her manager, therefore engaged South Valiant and signed the Lloyd's open form. Okay, so that's a mistake made. South Valiant went to help the Unique Mariner, but after that, the correct tug arrived. Or rather, the ship manager Sea Trade told the master, "Hey, stop! You're using the wrong tug to assist your ship." When Sea Trade found out that the master engaged the wrong ship. So now, what do you think? Definitely, the owner of South Valiant will want to claim salvage reward or salvage remuneration from the owners of Unique Mariner, right? And the owners of the Unique Mariner will say, "Hey, the master made a mistake, or rather, I did not give the master power to sign the Lloyd's open form to you because the master is signing with a wrong party. So since I don't give the master the power to sign with you, I don't owe you anything." So think about that. When the master signed the Lloyd's open form with the tug South Valiant, was the master acting out as an agent of necessity, or as an agent with express authority, or as an agent with an implied authority? Think about it. Otherwise, you look at 5.4F and try to get an answer out of it. Okay. Next section, 5.5, is about safety of life, property, and environment. As we know, safety is always paramount, and no one is conferred with any defense if safety is breached, or any action or any unjustifiable action is being carried out. Safety in this respect involves many points. It could be health reason, it could be due to hazardous cargo, it could be due to safe navigation. So safety of the crew and passengers must be ensured at all time. That is the role of the master. And the working condition of the seafarers also. The seafarers cannot be working in a very unhygienic environment or very hazardous environment. what do we mean by unhygienic? For example, there's no proper housekeeping, the ship is full of rats, full of cockroaches, uh, working in dangerous environment. That means there's no safety helmet given to the crew, there's no safety shield given to the crew. When they are doing hot work, there's no proper permit, and so on. And with regard to the health and welfare of the crew is very, very important. That is why now we have a new convention called the Maritime Labour Convention 2006, or in short MLC 206, which pay very particular on the health, on the working condition of the ship. Also, the MLC 2006 is quite a good international shipping law to ensure ship owners provide a proper welfare to the ship crew on board. Health also involve the food, right? They cannot be eating expired food, and they cannot be drinking contaminated waters, and so on. If you look at the official logbook of a ship, you will also realize one of the items that is being recorded down will be the water, the quantity of the water. The next point is about hazardous cargo. Ships usually carry cargo, whether they are hazardous or not hazardous. I personally feel as long as you are carrying cargo, they are all hazardous. Of course, you may argue that, oh, but if it's hazardous, some of the cargo has no hazardous certificate or dangerous cargo certificate. If you look at the notes, hazardous cargo may include LPGs, LNGs, tankers, chemical carriers. These tankers must not only be specifically constructed to carry such cargo, but the officers and crew must be well trained in the carriage of these cargoes, the prevention of contamination of these cargoes, pollution of the seas, and environment hazards to which they are exposed. Okay, this paragraph in your page 6 only confined to tankers. The liquefied petroleum gases, gas carrier, the liquefied natural gas. Tankers will be the crude oil or product tankers, and chemical carriers. But do bear in mind, hazardous cargo can be non-tankers as well. Even for bulk carriers, you may carry sulfur. Sulfur can be hazardous. On a container ship, you will have a lot of DG containers around, right? Those of you who have interned before in the relevant sectors, you will understand what I say. Finally, safety of navigation. Of course, the master will not be the one on the bridge carrying out the navigation of the ship, but he has to make sure safe navigation is always complied with. He has to ensure that his navigating officers are competent to navigate the ship. He has to ensure that the passage plan is being properly carried out, because he has to check and he has to sign the passage plan. And he has to ensure that his officers will not hesitate to call him whenever his officer has got any doubt at all pertaining to safe navigation. Okay, so we have ended this chapter, and if you look at page 7 of your notes, I think Captain Chato has provided some revision on the law of agency, so have a look at that so that you can advise on the context of agent of necessity. If you've forgotten what is a principal, what is an agent, page 7 and annex to that will be your what we call that, revision for agent. So we will do the tutorial on a different video. Alright, as of now, please read up again or watch this video again. Thank you.